Hey everybody, Mean Joe from Boss USA. Hey, we're sitting here at Joe Nall 2019, right in our booth, and I thought this would be a great opportunity to do a carb rebuild on a G38 engine that I have here that we're going to be installing on an airframe here pretty soon. And I thought I'd just run over the basic steps of what it is, how it is that you do it, and how simple it is. I literally only need a Phillips head screwdriver and a standard screwdriver, and we're going to be good to go. I will show you how to do it, and here we go. Okay, so here we got our Zenoa G38, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to do a quick rebuild on the Walbro carburetor on this. First thing I like to do is I like to get it all over here. And all you need for this is a Phillips head screwdriver and a standard screwdriver, and those are the only tools you'll need to complete this. So go ahead and remove the cover plate. Now when I got this kit from B&B Specialist, I did not grab the needle valve set with it. Most times I find that really all that needs to be replaced is the diaphragm and the valve sheet. So now that I've got my cover off, you can see here, this is what the diaphragm looks like. This is the one that we're going to be replacing. It's a little dried out. It's been sitting in, this engine's been in there for quite a while, and it's just time for a new diaphragm. So as you can see here, I've got the replacement sitting right here, all ready to go. These set right here is the needle valve set. I did not get the needle valve set for this one because I wasn't thinking I would need it. To remove this, all you would do is remove this screw right here and pull that whole needle valve assembly out, and the kit comes with the needle valve assembly that you just place in there and then replace the screw, and it's good to go. So all you have to do for this now is install your baffle with the metal side up. You want to make sure that the hole in the outside plate points towards the intake for the muffler. Then you just replace the 4 screws. Then all you need to do is flip over to the other side. This is where you'll use your standard screwdriver. Take the cover plate off of the valve.
What he's doing over there, you don't get into none of that crap. If you don't fly it for 2 months,
pull this off.
Don't varnish up.
Make sure that your plate is nice and clean. You don't want to have any dust or dirt or grime in here, because when you put everything back together, the gasket will leak. So you want to make sure you get that nice and clean. And also the other thing you want to look for is there's actually a little screen right in there. For this one, that one actually looks pretty good. I don't think there's any issues. It seems like it's in there all the way. You do want to go around the edge where you're going to put everything back together and make sure you don't have any dirt on this plate, because that will cause your gasket to leak. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of paper towel here and wipe that out so there's no dirt. So that way when I put my new screen and my new gasket on, it'll work great. And you've got your valve sheet here. You take off the old one, which is right here. This is the old sheet. You can see it's kind of dirty and this needs to be replaced. We'll put that aside. We'll go ahead and place the new valve sheet down. It only goes on here one way, so you can't really mess it up, just like that. And then you put your cover plate back on.
Yeah, it does. So we were like, yeah, put it out there. Yeah, I was wondering what it would look like. We actually, we got another sample different.
Make sure everything's lined up, everything's all seated. And put your cover screw back in.
I wanted solar takes, and I find out that they don't make it.
Okay, so while you've got this all pulled apart, it's a good idea to go ahead and clean out and adjust the high and low speed needle valves. So what I normally do is I count the turns as I screw them in. You want to be careful not to over tighten these. So there's 1. 1.5 turns. Okay, so now when I pull this out, I can pull this needle valve all the way out. And go ahead and just clean it all up. These get pretty dirty, so you may actually need some carburetor cleaner to get them real good. Those aren't that bad, they're pretty decent. Just make sure you get them all cleaned out good so everything is all clear. And then you can stick it back in. And the reason why we counted the 1.5 turns is because now I know when I turn this screw all the way in, I turn it all the way in until it snugs, and then I back it out 1.5 turns, and I've got the needle settings that I had when I started. That'll get you close. So I'm going to back it out 1.5. There's 1.5. And that should be pretty close to the same valve setting I had before. You just want to do that to both the high and low speed needles. Have the same process. You're going to turn that in and you're going to count them as you go. So there's 1.25. Now you can pull that needle valve all the way out and do the exact same thing. Pull it all the way out. Make sure you clean it all up on the end. To quote the boss, to make sure that it doesn't have any goobers on it. Get it all cleaned out. Check it, make sure it all looks good, and then reinstall it. And this one you would turn all the way in. Now it's very important to remember, you don't want to over tighten any of these screws. The screws on the outer plates, the screws on the cover for the valve sheet, and the screws for these valves, you want to make sure you don't over tighten them. So bring it down to where it's just snug. And then on this one, I come out at a turn and a half, a turn and a quarter. So 1.25. And this is all ready to go. So here in about 5 minutes, we've completely rebuilt a Walbro carburetor on a Zenoa G38. This engine is ready to go back on the airplane and ready to go. So as always, thank you very much for watching and happy building.